And hey, what is up, esports felt? Welcome back to another day on the PCS. I am Pyrotechnics. I am joined by Nightstar. We got a new caster pairing here today. I'm extremely excited to see how this one's all going to work out. Now, I would like to take a brief moment to thank our wonderful sponsors. They are, of course, CTBC Bank, China Airlines, and Chunghwa Telecom. As we get ready to get underway today, I just got to ask, Nightstar, how the heck are you, man?
Dude, I am so excited. Relegated to Sunday duty for the last 3 weeks, but you know what? It's still great games on the PCS, and I mean, today's definitely not an exception.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of exciting games. You are certainly the Sunday caster, but, you get a little bit of experience in that regard for sure. And we'll be getting into our games in just a minute. I think there's a lot of really exciting ones because it's super pivotal at this point.
Yep.
Teams that are towards the bottom of the standings really angling for the playoffs. And, of course, the teams in the top of the standings are really looking to solidify positions so they get those buys up in the top two.
Yeah, right now it's really just jockeying for positioning here, especially at the top half. When you look at the standings, because of how far down Liab and Alpha are, J-Team and everyone else above, so 5th and up, have already solidified their playoff positions, and it's really all about making sure you get into that top 4 just so you can secure either side selection or a bye.
Yeah, and there have been a couple of surprises so far already this split. Let's take a look at the game results from yesterday. We kick things off with a Burjayo Dragons win against the Hong Kong Attitude, which really came down to a final team fight. And then after that, things got a little bit more normal for a while. We didn't really think it was going to be easy for the likes of Liab to take out the Red Hot Boom Esports. Machi took down a struggling Hong Kong Attitude. And then, of course, all the way at the end of the day, we had PSG Talon beating J-Team. And again, PSG, just an incredible squad, undefeated, aiming for the perfect split. It has not been done, but they're trying to make it a first. And yeah, exciting stuff. As we swap around a couple of results from yesterday, let's take a look at the standings. That's not important. Pay no attention to the last graphic. Now we're on the current standings with PSG at 14-0. But what I like to see here is Boom Esports at 10-3, tied up with Megabank Beyond Gaming. They're going to play on later today. That's going to be such an exciting matchup. Of course,
Yeah.
Machi hot on their heels and J-Team just after that. Are there any big surprises for you, Nightstar, with how the standings are towards the end of week 4?
I mean, for one, Leah being able to double their win total to get to that number 2, that's
true.
really a pleasant sight to behold. And also just how well Boom are performing this split. I had them ranked fourth in my power rankings, and even then, for them to rise up this far up, at least in regular season, is definitely a surprise. As we're going to take a look at today's matches. Of course, we're going to start things off with Alpha Impunity, kind of ease the crowd in. You know, it should be a really exciting just to see. Well, there's a couple of changes coming up. We'll mention them later on, but for sure, and this is the big start of Boom being able to solidify their second ranking possibly here, as they're gonna start a very difficult stretch to end their regular season.
Yeah, they have a couple of games to play. It starts off with Hong Kong Attitude, and then they go up against Beyond. And I think the last time they met was actually when we started to see, oh, Boom, these guys are for real. They're not just beating teams that are down in the standings. They're actually able to tangle with the top dogs. And currently with a 1-0 record, if they can solidify that, they get some good head-to-head. I love that matchup because Boom are kind of the team coming into summer that I think only maybe a few people were expecting to be really good. I know you ranked them higher than most, but considering that they're so high up in the standings that they are looking at a number 2 spot and up against the likes of Beyond Gaming, who did exactly that in the spring split, coming out of nowhere. But let's take a look at our first competitors for today. It will be Alpha Esports starting off on the blue side. They are 3Z, K-Babe, Xiaotu, On, and Sheng. This is a team that unfortunately have been hard-pressed to find victories. Only a single win, that coming against Liab. The clock is really running out here for them to try and get into a playoff position.
Yeah, and this game is extremely pivotal for both of these teams. Alpha, for them to just even have a chance to make it into playoffs, really have to be able to get a win here to just really stay optimistic about those chances. And on the flip side for Impunity, this has to be a game that Impunity win because of the fact that the schedule doesn't get much easier than this. So you have to take care of your business down in the mud here. And if they're able to get this win, that sets them up pretty well to contest perhaps even for a number 4 or number 6 spot here, as we're going to see lineup coming in from Beauty, and we do have Kralix coming in, which is definitely a big change. However, you could definitely say it's warranted because of how, I would say, poorly Smurf has been performing on this roster.
Yeah, I think it's maybe not as big of a shocker as it seemed when we looked at the roster change-up, because Smurf had not been really stepping up into the role. I don't think he was the only one that had been underperforming on the side of Impunity, but Kralix was the player they have in the substitute position. Now, this is a player that I don't believe has played since 2019, and that goes all the way back to an LST qualifier. So it's kind of a question mark to see what that's going to mean in the bottom side, but I suppose if you are going to experiment, doing it against the team in 10th place is as safe as it gets. So I suppose there might be something to it. But as you mentioned, this is a very well must-win game for Impunity. There are only 3 wins on the split. Top 8 will make playoffs, so they need to stay ahead of the pack. Let's take a look at our featured matchup. It is 3Z versus Top King. Now, Top King has been the bright, shining light, I think, on this roster. Since 11.14 hit, he has brought out power pick after power pick, and he has been able to, if not decimate, certainly cut down to size the competition.
Top King's been really just the highlight player when it comes to mechanical outplays or just performance overall. When you look at the rest of the roster, it feels like they're more of a facilitating role, especially Moonblack here. Epic can have a couple of those moments, and Blaze as well, but again, Blaze has really struggled in the lane phase, and it's not just in part due to him, it's also just as a duo, they've just been really lackluster. So Top King by himself, he's been able to carry a lot of the load, and on this patch especially, this really has to be Impunity's patch because of just the guaranteed bans that you have to attribute to this roster game in, game out.
One of those bans, of course, the Heimerdinger, and I know you were mentioning that the last time these two teams met was when we got to see that Heimerdinger in the hands of Moonblack, and he got respect banned ever after.
Yeah, the first and last time we saw Heimerdinger played in PCS, and it's been perma-banned against Impunity ever since. He's got the Heimerdinger in PCS has gotten 11 or now 12 bans, and I mean that's pretty high, but it's only been against Impunity here. And for this first pick, we are going to see the Varus locked in, so this is kind of the big pick people are going towards after the Ziggs comes off the table. It's one of those picks that has really long range, has a lot of different ways you can build him to just change his play style, and that's always definitely a good start, especially in the hands of On, who's been playing pretty aggressively in the spotlight.
Yeah, On is a player that I think a lot of people will recognize from past experience. Has a lot of game time on the Rift and in international competition as well. Not necessarily at that level anymore, at least he hasn't shown it as of yet, but he's certainly confident and competent on a number of picks. This Varus has been considered a very strong one for most of the AD carries. On the Impunity side, we'll have to see as the Thresh gets picked up for Kralix as he comes back in, how well he'll do paired up with Blaze, who now is locked in the Aphelios. We started to see bot priority be a little more valued by some of our teams here in the PCS in the last week.
And especially for Impunity, because again, this is a team that is more focused on getting counterpick for Top King, and also just a decent matchup for Moonblack. You do want to save R3 and R5 for perhaps one of those big counters, or just making sure that you get a solid matchup and that you are able to farm out through the lane phase for Moonblack especially. So it makes a lot of sense that they hold that pick there. And for Alpha, they go ahead, lock into Leona. This is a pick I feel like has been a little bit over prevalent in the PCS, but it's still a really strong pick because of all it offers into a team, and it allows you to kind of skimp out on some things like engage power from a top lane or a jungler, but they go ahead and just combine it with the Xin, so a lot of early aggression in this bot half. So I expect Alpha to try and make early invade plays in that bottom half of the jungle.
And on the Impunity side, they flash a number of power picks that actually made it all the way through. We don't often see the Gwen, the LeBlanc making it through pick ban, especially against Impunity, where Moonblack found a home on that champion, and honestly, not a whole lot else. So they end up banning it away themselves because Xiaotu has been prevalent on it, and opt for the Big Bear instead. That actually kind of surprises me that they decided not to take the LeBlanc when they had the chance.
Yeah, it is a little bit surprising because, again, going into the second phase, you can go ahead and ban away some of those LeBlanc counters, but it doesn't look like they're going to path towards that kind of decision here. With the Volibear pick, of course, it does offer you a little bit of flexibility in that you can put it top lane, depending on the matchup, of course. And the Renekton ban here also signifies that they do have some sort of idea that they might throw that Volibear top side, because it is one of those picks that can really dominate a Volibear in the lane phase. But Sylas taken off the board, not really a fan of it, because I gotta say, Moonblack, he's going to be a lot more comfortable on something like a Kled here, which is still available.
That's true. That is the opportunity. Now, Tom Kench gets locked in, and that is for Top King. We've seen him play it already. I was going to say Top King has one of those eclectic champion pools. They flashed Gwen earlier, but an interesting thing about these two teams is I think they might be the only two teams in the PCS that do not play Gwen, have not gotten a chance to, and have not opted for it.
Yeah, that's definitely a bit of an interesting thing. And I would say part of it is because of Impunity's game timer. They haven't exactly been a very consistent team at hitting the later portions of mid-game. Usually by that point in time, at the 28, 30-minute mark, they've already lost if the game's trending towards that direction. So the Gwen pick needs a little bit more time to ramp up here. And for Alpha, they're going to get really, really solid B4 and B5 pick in going for the Karma, getting that extra priority, opening things up for K-Babe here. This is going to be a very aggressive duo that can play top side or bot side. And then, of course, you get this Gangplank pick, which is going to be able to really just hard farm this Tom Kench. And it's really up to snowballing this Tom Kench ahead, because if he is able to get that get ahead, then he can really just dog down this GP. Otherwise, it's just free farm for GP all day.
So Alpha opt into a pick that I think 3Z at least should be happy for, but I'm a little surprised Impunity show the Tom Kench so early. It means that they don't end up with the counter pick for what I would argue is their strongest player. Priority a little bit strange on the Impunity side. For Alpha, definitely a lot of early pressure, as you mentioned, a more supportive mid lane pick. It does seem like there's a lot of roam potential here. Just nameplates off fully, Nightstar, looking at the two compositions we have here. Who do you like better?
I do like the composition over on the side of Alpha just a little bit better because it's pretty robust. You've got the Gangplank, you've got the Karma who can really tag team with the Xin early on to really dominate. And it's really going to be about those two players to set the tone for the rest of the game here. You're going to have really good scaling with both GP and the Varus, and they've got a lot of ways they can play the game. And on the flip side, it's just a very slow composition with an Azir Philios. If they're able to get to that 28-minute mark, then they're going to be really powerful, but it's just a matter of getting there in a safe fashion against a Xin Karma duo.
Yeah, that's always going to be tough. And much has been made of Alpha and the communication issues that, possibly plague this squad. But K-Babe and Xiaotu should be on the same page. They have been the duo that has been a little bit more together than the rest. I think the rest of the team may be playing a little bit on their own. But, I want to see how well that mid-jungle synergy does work out if Moonblack does stay safe. One of the problems that tends to happen to this Impunity squad is they just lose out on lane prio so hard they can't get to the later stages of the game. So they're going to be trying to stop the pressure early on as we take to the Rift against Alpha Esports. A must-win game for both these teams trying to stay alive for the playoffs, looking for postseason. Impunity a couple wins up, but Alpha not too far behind.
Yeah, these teams are pretty much neck and neck, even though there is a 2 placement difference. And looks like
there's a Liam in between.
Yeah. Oh, he's going for an early play. Can he get him?
That's going to get the hook. He's going to have to burn sums if he wants to get out alive. I think on, they don't want to full dive in, but that's a big play early for Impunity. It means bot lane's going to be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, that's actually such a massive play coming out from Top King, skilling up the W first. And if you look at the summoners, he actually has Ignite and Teleport. So this is an extremely vulnerable top lane if they want to apply early pressure onto the champion. And of course, he is still incredibly durable, but getting rid of that Ignite early does also mean that K-Babe has an opening up top side.
That's true. Both Ignites, actually, as Kralix burned his. Let's take a look at how things started. We were going to talk about summoners. You already mentioned the Tom Kench with the Ignite and TP. Everything looks a little more normal on the side of Alpha Esports, but as we open up here, we'll see how well the lane goes. Blaze and Kralix do know that there should be the leash going down, as On and Chung were a little late to this lane.
Yeah, and the level 1 flash burned on to On is actually really important here because Leona doesn't get a lot of say into Thresh lanes. It's really up to the Thresh to make a mistake for the Leona to then be able to take advantage of that 2v2. So losing that flash early means that Blaze and Kralix can play super aggressive level 1, just making sure they get control of this wave.
Yeah, that certainly helps when you can turn the tables a little bit, right? We talked at the beginning of the draft about how this team wanted to wait it out for a little while, but getting Prio on the lane means they can do exactly this. Good poke down onto Shung, nicely done with the hook, and Kralix already showing mechanical skill as he comes off the Impunity bench.
Yeah, and taking full advantage of the lead that Top King did also garner them, so great opening coming in from Impunity. We do need to see it being carried through as K-Babe, he's going to start out this blue buff here. He's going to be in a great position to try and take advantage of the wave bouncing back top side. Hopefully that's about to crash. Yeah, it is about to crash. So this is a great position here. He's going to be able to defend 3Z if it was Volibear going up top side, but they already know that he already started top side and should be around a bot here. And both of these junglers should just look for respective scuttles in their region and probably just go for a recall. Although K-Babe, it does look like he might look for a dive, and this is a little bit dangerous because, again, this guy is pretty hard to take down at the Tom Kench.
Yeah, Top King is a little bit low, and he has no flash to try and get away, so I get why K-Babe wants to go for him here, but I think he realizes he's not going to be able to get the playoff, although the stop on Top King's back timed pretty well because he did see K-Babe moving through the river. Now Epic looks to head a little closer to the bottom side. I don't know if a dive will work out, but certainly if they can bait On and Chung going a little farther forward, that might be the play. Blaze baiting it out, and it's respected.
Looks like they'll just go on their merry way here, although Shang.
Oh boy, that's the flash play, looking for On. While Shen was away, a lot of damage and first blood secured by
Teleport
Kralix
coming through
on the Ignite. Here's the follow-up extended play. Xiaotu, now it's going to be followed through
Moonblack.
by Moonblack. At the moment, Kralix taking a little bit low, but does stay alive. In goes Moonblack, looking for a bit of extra damage to turn back around. Stunned, has to flash away. Alpha, they looked for a second like they might get the better of this, but it is going to be Impunity. 2 kills to 0 and 1/3 as Moonblack gets the support.
And it looked like Moonblack made a little bit of a mistake there, but it was all according to plan. He overextends himself and gets a bunch of summoners to boot afterwards as we get to see the replay. Shang thought Epic was gone now, but unfortunately he comes in right when he starts to peek around and the side of Impunity take advantage of the fact that, well, Shang did leave, so there was no way to reject this Thresh play, and then Moonblack goes in, not level 6, so he doesn't have the flip, the shuffle to pull the rest of Alpha back, but The play was more than enough to then get Alpha to bite the bait, and they end up overextending themselves. And it's just such a massive win for Impunity. They have such a large lead already at just 5.5 minutes.
That's one of those plays where you just type in all chat calculated.
Yeah.
I love it. Impunity get 3 for none right now, and Xiaotu face checks into Epic. Impunity are definitely playing with some swagger at this point, because remember, they were the team that probably were going to get set on the back foot in the laning phase because of the way this composition worked out. But it's Alpha that haven't really been able to find roams yet, and Epic sets up a great play. And honestly, just repositioning in the fight did so much for Impunity. Like Moonblack, honestly, I'm just going to come out and say it. I feel like he should have died there. Whether he lucked out or like Alpha just like whiffed super hard, I'm not sure. Speaking of, he might die now, but he does sidestep a little bit on the Crescent Guard, and he does have the Shurima Shuffle available should he use it. Just a little bit of Sand Soldier poke. Yeah, you know, Moonblack, I feel like he deserves a lucky break, right? You know, he's had a rough go this split.
Yeah, he's definitely been one of the most underperforming mid laners here in our split. And I mean, the past week and this week as well, he really has stepped up his game. So really happy for him to see this improvement. Now, the big issue, I think, came from the fact that as far as why Alpha aren't being able to get control of this game early on is because of that flash burn by On at level 1, because this is a composition. You have Gangplank in the top lane against the Tahm Kench. Nothing is really feasibly going to happen. It's so difficult to dive Tahm Kench. You're not going to do that. So all your attention should be thrown into that bottom side as Top King goes for a trade. Ooh. This is a very good trade.
He can do the diving. I love it. And he's just got so much sticking power, right? Like the Bomby Cinder on already, it kind of tells the story that, yeah, I'm just going to get tanky. I'm going to be able to stick to you. And I don't care how many oranges you've got. It's not going to be enough to cleanse out of my stuns.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And once you get those stacks built up, then you're able to just consume him and chuck him to the wolves. And as it looks like Epic is posturing to try and make a dive play. Remember, this is a level 6 Volibear, so yeah, very, very intelligent read from 3Z there, and just saying, okay, if I don't clear this wave out instantly, Epic will use that Volibear ult, and I'm 9 out of 10 times just dead there. But it will still be a blue buff obtained by the side of Impunity. It's still a big win for them, being able to deny that away from the Karma. And yeah, it's really a rough go of it for Alpha, because this composition was built to try and snowball the Leona lane to then get the Leona out of the lane and really create this 3-man death squad with Xin, Leona, and Karma, and it's never going to get to that point.
Yeah, and look what Impunity are able to do here, even stealing or even taking away that Rift Herald as Alpha check in a little bit too deep here. Shung takes a lot of damage, and what a shuffle back from Moonblack. He just made it look easy. There is going to be a follow kill as Xiaotu finds the Volibear, but I don't think he's getting away. The play back, Prowlix staying alive, swallowed up by Top King. And what a play, Impunity. They lose one, but get so much more.
And Alpha, they were just way too late to the play. They identified, okay, it's probably going to be a Rift Herald play coming in from Impunity, but by the time they arrived, they had already secured the objective. And now this is just them wasting time. They're hoping that only one person face checks and they're able to instantly burst them down, but that's just not the case. And now Moonblack, he gets a perfect angle. If you're stuck in that choke point against an Azir, you're dead every single time. And they're able to just mop up right afterwards, and they even get themselves the double buff in. It goes on to Moonblack, which just ensures that this Azir is just unstoppable coming into this mid game.
Can you say Fed Azir? Moonblack is having a good game. He's very happy. Got a champion he's comfortable on. He started to get kills fed into him. And Impunity, you know, they've just gotten so much around the map here. Kills, objectives. You know, they built for the later stages of the game, and it's going to accelerate. Look at the items already starting to be completed here. We've got the Ludens finished up by Moonblack off the back of those kills.
What a ridiculous time.
I know, right? It's 10 minutes.
Oh my god, this guy is so strong, and he's going for a poke build because he has the comment. I would prefer the Leandries a little bit more here, but because of how far ahead in the game it is, like, the amount just one Q is going to do is just an absurd amount of damage, and he's basically just he's basically Zoe but more consistent at this point in the game.
Yeah, Moonblack definitely liking these style of champions too, and we talked about him a lot this split as a player that sort of struggles with the meta because he's not typically an assassin player. LeBlanc sort of was the exception that proved the rule. Yep. But I'm glad he's found some answers. Now, a lot of teams on a different level than Alpha have been banning him out consistently, but we'll talk about that a little bit later because Kralix goes fishing and finds Shung not going to take it. Honestly, in this debut, I don't know if it's totally fair to Smurf because, against Alpha, it's a different caliber of opponents. But Kralix has been doing a great job on this Thresh so far. Looks like the Alpha do want to get the fight, though, and they actually find a lot of damage to delete Epic. The Thresh box goes in. Teleport Moonblack from around the back. His teammates are a little bit low already. K-Babe wreaking havoc in the back line, and that was a slower response. Alpha were able to trade 2 for 3, and Zhao2 is looking to make it 4. As the leash does not quite finish connecting, Zhao2 can't finish with the Q.
And this time it really was just Alpha having the numbers advantage. They go in with the teleports. They're able to burst out Epic really before this fight really gets underway. You see a pretty solid play coming in from Kralix, but this is where that global pressure comes in from the Gangplank, and the fact that he's able to join using that ultimate. Yes, he can't come in with the teleport, but because there's no teleport available for the Tahm Kench, it's not like he's able to add numbers coming in from top side. So it's really just a really good abuse of the timers from Alpha. Oh.
Yeah, so I think that was a... pardon me there. Have my mic muted for a second. That was, I still think, while it was noopsy for Impunity, they still managed to get a decent bit for themselves in the follow-up, but Moonblack's in a little bit of trouble here, as he's gonna try, but not be able to make it to the Lantern. Oh, that feels bad, man. And Top King, what are you doing, buddy? Get out of there.
Oh, he's out. Oh, no, he's not.
He's not! He's got stunned! So Impunity just kind of whiffed 2 in a row. They're still getting objectives on the map, but I think they went a little crazy there for a minute.
Not a lot to say about that one, Pyre. That really was just Moonblack fumbling the mechanics just a little bit, ends up getting caught out, not able to get to the Lantern in time as well, and now that's 2 shutdown kills onto Moonblack. So while Moonblack has had a very good game, he's also donated a lot of gold back into the hands of Alpha, and now Alpha able to get another 2 plates in that mid lane, and all of a sudden, look at the gold. It's pretty much dead even. They were at such an impressive gold lead. Yes, it was a 1,500 gold only, but at 5.5 minutes, that's an absurd amount of gold, and now all of a sudden it's dead even.
Yeah, Alpha really able to do a lot and get into a power spike situation now with mythic items being completed for themselves. And, unfortunately for Impunity, they have this nice lead. They are going to scale into the later stages of the game, but they need to stop making plays like that. It was, I wanted to say in that previous engage down bottom, Moonblack actually had a much better ward to teleport in, but he misjudged the location to do it. Mm-hmm. And it seems like the individual decision making for Impunity's kind of fallen off a bit.
Yeah, I think it was really just more of a, hey, we're so far ahead, we can kind of just do what we want, and then they ended up dropping the ball, as we can see the goal difference. Like, it was at 3K, and all of a sudden it's just swung so damn quickly. And now they have to really start crossing their T's, dotting their I's again, because you just can't get away with those kinds of mistakes when you're up against a team like Alpha, who will just go aggressive on you every single time.
Absolutely. So Impunity pull back just a little bit. They do manage to snag themselves another Herald, so their objective control of the map does continue unabated. But as you mentioned, yeah, gold lead non-existent for them. In fact, they're in a gold deficit. Looking to dive this Gangplank. He has Flash, he has Cannon Barrage. But they've got a lot of members up here.
Yeah, also level 11, so doing a little bit more damage. They pop Rift Herald down. They're going to try and just execute him right here. Should work.
Stormbringer dodge, but yeah, it's going to be just fine. And Shelly coming in for the charge means that they should be able to secure the tower on this one. Cannon Barrage spent. 3Z does wisely hold on to his flash. I think he knew he was a dead man.
Yeah, it was, I mean, really just the best option he can do there, knowing that, hey, there's probably a Goon Squad coming up here. They're going to invest a lot of resources. It's my job to just save as many of my resources to just invest into a later fight. They have Dragon coming up in 2 minutes. That's obviously going to be the next big objective coming up online, as Baron is still 4 minutes away. And even then, Alpha were able to get bottom tower. So it's not like they lost a whole lot. It's really just that kill deficit. And they were also able to still get farm in that top side with that Cannon Barrage. They were able to get farm in that mid lane because Xiaotu was there. And they were also able to get farm in that bottom lane. But now it looks like they're trying to farm champions.
Yeah, Blaze, though, he's the one going to be left for dead. Actually can't flash. He's just stunned for days. But the turnaround, Moonblack was there with the Sand Soldiers, just poking, and gets a big old shutdown onto the side of K-Babe. The rest of Alpha trying to scatter. He does not have his ultimate. He goes in, goes golden, shutdown for the Volibear to take down Xiaotu now, and 3Z and On trying to stay alive, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it. Top King eyes on the prize, looking for 3Z, and this will be the ace as soon as he gets that last hit. 3Z staying alive on a goose chase forever. There's the lick. Does he have the wall? I think he actually could stay it. Oh, and down.
Eventually.
He goes. Delayed as heck.
That's like how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? Yeah, that was pretty much it. Because he just would not go down.
Tootsie Pop. That's a little salty, I think. But it all starts with a 3-man dive into the jungle, and honestly, Blaze, he just gets stunned forever, tries to ult instead of flash away, but Moonblack's so fed that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was really just Blaze getting a little bit greedy with those summoners. Yes, it ends up probably for the better, because now he still has both of the summoners for the next dragon fight, which is, of course, the next clear objective that you want to play for. So having those up is definitely a big boon, and they still end up winning the fight. So overall, it actually pays off that Blaze greeds for those summoners. Would have been better if he just, it would have been a better result in that particular fight if he used Cleanse and Flash, but holds on. The greed pays off, and you know what? Now they're in an incredibly strong point here because, again, starting to build up that gold lead again, but they have to have a really clean fight here as 3Z, he has the ult available, and that's going to be a big thing to watch out.
On to K-Babe, they've got the damage and able to pick him off before Epic does fall. Who's
way
able
too
to
late.
Out through it. That is going to be the route out from the Ophelio. Xiaotu taking a little low. Moonblack goes in, flashes for the shuffle. That's on to 3, but can they capitalize on it? It looks like the answer is a resounding yes. As they don't lose a man, On and Shung trying desperately to defend. That should be a very free dragon.
And the shuffle from Moonblack was just so insane. He has the flash still from that last fight there, and we're going to see the replay. It really just starts out with K-Babe being so far split from the rest of the squad. They don't have Xiaotu here, and while we talked about this was supposed to be the 3-man death squad of K-Babe, Xiaotu, and Shang, it really has never come online, and you see that flash, he sees the angle, and this is what Moonblack's been really good at, play calling or just calling the shots, when to start out these fights. Pays off big dividends there, and yeah, now Impunity, they're really pretty much off to the races. They have a 3k gold lead, they've got 3 dragons, they're set up for Dragon Soul at 24 minutes, which is incredibly early here in the game, and it's tough to see where Alpha find their way back in. Yes, you want to scale with, okay, this could be a way in.
Top King does face check pretty hard here, but
Might
he is
take
a big
a
old
while.
stat stick at the moment. Can they let him get out? Actually, this is going to be
They're
a
all
fight
here now.
turned as Kralix and Epic have arrived. The playback still sticking on to Top King. He will go
Moonblack here.
down, but now the cavalry has arrived, and Alpha expends so much that they end up losing both K-Babe and Shung, and probably Zhao2 as well, as Moonblack slides and glides his way. Zhao2 running towards the base, but it's the wrong base.
He, I think, will still survive given the fact that he does have 3Z, but I mean, for the side of Impunity, they don't really care about this karma. They just want the Baron. It's definitely worth 5 times more the gold of just a lowly karma, and it does look like they want to try and contest. The recalls are in. That's a lot of poke.
I don't know. On might be able to do something about this. After all, I didn't think it was going to happen. Does get secured up with the smite from Epic. Kralix taking a little bit low here, and that is going to be on the remaining members of Impunity to try and stay alive and turn this fight after their numbers were a bit diminished. Epic and Blaze 2v2ing against Zhao2 and 3Z. 3Z falls, and they do get away with 2 members as they continue to chase on Zhao2. It's actually Epic solo chasing. I don't know if this is a wise decision, and the bear will turn around.
I think he's just trying to stall out timers as much as possible, but it does look like they're trying to go on to Blaze.
Yeah, Shung, K-Babe looking for him. A lot of damage. They will shut down the 80 carry. Talking back in. It's just like one extended fight, Nightstar. The fight didn't ever really end. And I don't think... one player got away with Baron buff, and it was Epic.
I do believe Moonblack also got away with his, as he is chilling
Okay, I
out.
thought he died in that.
Oh, actually, it also looks like Top King secured his, which is interesting.
Okay. Then I am totally off base. That was a lot of chaos, man. I'm telling you what.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely just really back and forth here coming in from both these squads. And that's the thing with Alpha, is the fact that they'll continue to just flip non-stop. Even if they're losing, they'll try and flip the coin anyways, but very soon the coin doesn't turn into a coin, it turns into a 20-sided die.
Yeah, and I think that was K-Babe rolling in that one.
Yeah.
Trying to bait out something on Moonblack, but Moonblack finds a kill, finds a flash, is able to dash away as well. He's just so hard to catch when he's got the shifting sands.
Yep.
And you can see all the attention focused on him, bot, but nothing doing.
So much attention thrown on to him, just trying to lock him down. They know that he's got such a large, well, he's reaccumulated another bounty on his head, and they just want to try and kill that side lane split pusher threat in this Azir, but nothing to it as they once again fail. And I mean, this is pretty much a straightforward close for Impunity, barring just a big, massive overextend or overstay blunder.
Yeah, absolutely. Top King into the front, just flashes the tip of the hat, Tengu. And
he's tanky,
he might
but
die, the gray health is big. They do take down Shung. I don't know if that was a worthwhile exchange as the cannon barrage comes through. Impunity are definitely playing a little fast and loose with their lead.
I mean, again, okay. Looks like K-Babe still wants a say in here. Don't know if they want to keep forcing this, but they do want to stop the backs. Again, like, Impunity, this is a game that should be pretty easy to close. However, again, if they make a big overstay blunder, like kind of what happened with Top King, he overextends just a little bit, gets picked off, it slows down their push because that's their big meatball in front of the rest of the squad. It's going to, once again, slow things down.
I don't know about slow, man. Top King teleports in. Moonblack, yeah, they're going to go for the chase on the Zhao2 and K-Babe. I don't think they can get anywhere. Nice predict on that one. Zhao2 going down to the likes of Moonblack. And they will be able to easily secure up the Dragon Soul should they want it. Boy. Impunity are really playing like a just fight, chase kind of game.
I feel like it almost always happens to any team that plays Alpha, in the fact that because Alpha are so willing to take these skirmishes, the other team just ends up getting sucked into their pace, for better or worse. And, well,
oh boy,
this isn't much of a
Goodbye,
fight.
K-Babe.
Yeah, usually Zin's the one trying to assassinate backline members. He's not really used to seeing a backline member assassinate him like that.
Yeah, My, how the turntables. Moonblack just is having an absolute game for himself right now. Has definitely made a couple of mistakes, but so far we've seen impressive use of his Azir wall, impressive shuffles, great team play in terms of fighting. Yeah, I mean, Impunity, they are making a number of mistakes and kind of giving kills back here and there, but they're just so far ahead, it doesn't seem to matter. And now Ocean's, or rather, the Cloud Soul has been secured.
And Cloud Soul is really nice here because of the fact that it gives them a little bit extra move speed and it allows you to maintain distance, especially when you have kind of fragile backline champions like an Azir and the Aphelios. It just allows you to stay your range away from a champ like Xin, who is so binary, and also that Leona, especially when they do have that speed boost coming in from Karma. That extra speed boost naturally from Cloud is going to help out.
Now here comes the siege on two fronts, and the flash in. K-Babe trying to get the kill. They do manage to take down Moonblack, and that is
another overextension
for Alpha's chances. Look for Blaze, and Top King's in the mix. He takes K-Babe out of the fight here and swallows up his AD carry. Blaze trying to get out of there, but they did have Shung on the back trying to finish the job. Managed to keep him alive, but Alpha
Epic's
will not be deterred. Looking for the kill, and they will find it. It's gonna be on, taking down his opposite number. The leap back for Epic using a defensive Volibear ultimate, and an overextension turns disastrous for Impunity.
What can I say? I said this should be an easy game to close out unless if they overextend or overstay, and now we've seen two overextensions kind of back to back when it comes to try and take down these base towers here. He leaves the soldier behind to try and let him give himself an out, but K-Babe's just too fast on the trigger finger, and this is probably one of the first times we see Krelix make a big blunder when it comes to placing his lantern or just some of those thresh mechanics. That time he places a little bit too short. Blaze ends up being in big trouble. They lose 3 members there while Epic's able to get there. It looks like another fight. We don't get time.
What's happening right now? We don't have time for analysis. This is all fighting. Alpha just find a win. Again, taking down Moonblack at the Baron Pit. They lose 3Z for it, but that's a trade that you will take 100% of the time given the situation. What is going on in this game?
It's just one fight after another. Again, this is exactly how Alpha played. They will continue to flip the coin, and slowly but surely, it's instead of that 20-sided die, it's starting to become a 6-sided die. It's becoming a much more feasible for these coin flips to happen, as we're going to see another replay. They start out the Baron. They want to try and sneak it away, and Epic's there. It is a good peek in from Epic, but Moonblack, he goes a little bit too far aggressive. This is not what you want to do as an Azir if you're all the damage that's there, and because Blaze wasn't there yet, it just becomes a massive fumble.
Yeah, that's it's just Alpha. They're keeping the pressure on constantly. This should be the Baron play now for Impunity. Man, Nightstar, your polyhedral dice references as a D&D player, I love it. I don't know when a D20 converts to a D6 though. I will tell you that much. Shung gets whiffed on by the hook. Does land a 2-man.
He's a little bit far from
stun, but yeah, that there's no way he's getting out of that. That should be Baron for Impunity. I say should because I don't know what's happening anymore.
Alpha will contest. You know they will. So
they will.
Probably just going to be the end of the game here.
Well, let's see. 3Z has Cannon Barrage, puts it down. In comes the Tom Kench. 3Z isolated. Krelix taking a little bit low, but he's not going to be worried about that. The flash, but already dead. On the back, holding on to the piercing arrow. Does find one, but it is not nearly enough. And Impunity just so much stronger at this point. And Alpha, they hesitate a bit on that contest.
And you know that they want to stick around it. There's so much poke damage coming in from On. There's just no one to fully capitalize on it. As Xiaotu, he's going to try and peek in as well.
And Xiaotu is going to get taken out of this one. On will finally fall. On getting body blocked by Top King. That's how you play a frontline Tom Kench. And Impunity, this game has just all sorts of cuckoo bananas right now. We've got 34 kills on Impunity's side. It's not even 30 minutes into the game, Nightstar.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly how Alpha like to play it. They either... It's such a hard team to put away because of how crazy they always play. But here we go. We see the replay. The arrows rain in, and it's a nice little chunk there. But there's just the karma at this point in the game doesn't do any damage. The empowered Q does a little bit, but again, the natural MR scaling coming in from a lot of these champions is going to shut it down. And because you also have that support build coming in, it's not a build for Xiaotu to pop off in these fights. It's supposed to be built to support this Xin, to support this Varus, and so far they haven't been able to put all the pieces together yet.
I think looking for an opening here as they wait in the
They're all just
pit,
waiting
Top King and
across
Krelix.
the
Yeah,
wall.
this is I'm getting heart palpitations from this. This is tense right now. This is the most downtime we've had this game, and that's going to open up Top King looking for the pinch, and they will be able to find the support. Alpha, Shung staying alive for a little bit of time, but not nearly enough as the box comes down to trap K-Babe in the middle of it. And Impunity just too strong here. K-Babe did try to find a kill. The Crescent Guard not going to come through in time as Blaze does manage to pick one up, and they will slide and glide their way to another kill, shutting down everyone but 3Z. Blaze, consistent damage out of the back line, and that, you have to think, is going to be game.
Alpha, they play fast and loose, but also they lose pretty much fast and loose here. And yes, it took 32 minutes to do so, but it never felt like this game was too far out of the question for Impunity. They managed to secure themselves an all-important 4th win, and that just opens up more and more distance between them and the bottom 2.
Yeah, this is going to be great for their playoff chances. Certainly, though, I want to say they beat Alpha at their own game, but the problem was Alpha's game was just chaos. So not the cleanest victory from Impunity. And I wonder what that means for their game later today against Machi.
I would imagine Impunity spent most of their time prepping for this game because of how important it is to the standings. Against Machi, you know, the issue again, like, I like the fact that they're getting this Azir pick for Moonblack, making sure he has a stable lane phase, and it really just comes down to tightening up the decision making. Some of that Azir decision making, it works if you're something like a Kled, who has that extra durability to just dive all the way in the back line and make those crazy plays. Not so much if you're Azir, so he has to be a little bit more careful how he pulls the trigger if he does go back to the Azir pick against Machi.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. His Azir has been solid when he has the backup of his team, and when they're forcing fights, right? If you can get those big shuffles, we did see a couple of highlight reel plays. But when it came to like the siege, when it came to Impunity not being ready for the push themselves, that seemed to be where the trouble was coming in. And somebody like Xiaotu, somebody like K-Babe was certainly able to react to it. And I think that's what dragged the game out. On the side of the bottom, I think Blaze played very well with Krelix, so I wonder if we can expect to see more from this substitute bot laner, the substitute support player. It's hard to take away from a single game, but it certainly seems, at least on paper, like an upgrade at the moment, just because that Thresh play was really good. A handful of mistakes in Lantern placements that maybe weren't optimal, but for the most part did exactly what he needed to.
Yeah, one of the big issues has been Smurf being a little bit too aggressive in the lane phase, so having Krelix, I mean, it's only been one game, but he's been relatively tame when it comes to his approach to the lane. Part of that also helps when you burn the level 1 flash onto a Varus, so you have a lot more freedom to kind of dictate how you want to play the game, and it's at least a good look for this new bottom lane.
That's true. And in the time when Impunity have been searching for some answers, I think any sort of good news is going to help them. They still have a bit of a rough ride ahead, but I think this game proved that they should be able to make their way into the playoffs. At this point, the only team that should be able to upstage them, if it's just a complete leveling up, would probably be Liab, right? So maybe Liab pull off the incredible upset against PSG later today, and then we start talking about it. But for the time being, I think Impunity. It wasn't clean, but they should be happy about it.
Yeah, they got what they came for, which was that dub. So that's really all you can ask for. And hopefully they're able to carry that momentum and really threaten Machi. but we'll have to see in 2 games.
Yeah, I think that's the question I'm asking, right? Because Machi has been on a tear. They're one of the teams top up the standings, and like this is a huge test for Impunity. I don't know if they can play the way they played against Alpha. I want to see them clean it up. I want to see them. I definitely want to see Moonblack just play a little safer. Like you're right. Like he needs to just stop going ham into the backline, unless the plan is to have him go in, pop the Zanyas after the shuffle, and then the team cleans up. Because he did have some seriously good plays when he was able to pull the trigger himself. But that also required the team really kind of going in simultaneously, right? Like I think the Volibear was pretty pivotal in those fights. I think managing to land a hook into a box flay was also kind of pivotal. So, you know, maybe this is the Impunity comp that works for them, is just finding like a comp where they can all press their R buttons and it all works out. But here's how the game worked out. They definitely had a good early lead, kind of threw it back to Alpha for a little while, and then they picked up the pace and were able to close out.
Yeah, it did also drag out quite a bit, as we see like they got a pretty firm lead at around like 22 minutes-ish when it hit 5k gold deficit, but it took another 10 minutes afterwards to truly close things out. They really could have just found a way to end it around 25. And again, part of that was overextensions from Impunity, but also like Alpha, they will always look to punish you, even if like suboptimal situations for them. So Top King getting the MVP, you know, he was a rock in the top lane, and he was such a stat tank in these fights. It makes sense, but like really it's Moonblack who made the big highlight reel plays.
That's true. And both these players, both Top King and Moonblack, actually had moments where they really got themselves caught out. I think it's a lot more forgivable from Top King because he is that big stat tank that just sits there, tanks the damage. I mean, I'm thinking when the face check happened up in the top side and he's just wandering away from 3 people and they don't even kill him until the rest of the cavalry arrives. I guess that was the game plan, but you know, either way, Impunity, they get the win, so they'll be happy about that one as they go into the games later today. But we are going to go on a short break. When we return, more of the PCS, so don't go anywhere.